Um, Dr. Revis, go ahead and bring greetings.
Good evening and welcome to week 7. Guys, you are halfway there. And again, pat yourself on the back. You are bringing closure to the AAPSL. And I hope you're excited about getting that turned in and put together this week and moving on to your competency folio and some of those task stream requirements and your first 100 hours of your clinical work. Well, we'll talk about all that during tonight's session. So welcome again to week 7.
And you know what? I want to say this. For you to be where you are, and every one of you know how your journey began 7 weeks ago. Um, it has not been, for any of us, it has not been smooth sailing. But for some, it was harder than others to get. But to see where you are now, honestly, it's like Dr. Raven said, you need to pat yourself on the back because you have accomplished. And remember, I told you this. I said, give us through those first 4 weeks, and it'll all start coming together. And it did. It did. The quality of the work, it just like the light bulb came on, and so, you know, if everybody, I told Dr. Revis, I talked to her yesterday and today, we talk about every day. So everybody in this class, and Dr. Revis, we usually can't say this. Everybody is where you should be at this point. We normally come into this week and we've got 2 or 3 students they're so far behind that we don't know if they're going to make it, and some don't sometimes. But we don't have one student that is not where they're supposed to be. And I want to congratulate you on that. I've pushed you. I've been rough and tough and whatever, but it's okay. It accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And I think you can see that. And sometimes as administrators, you have to give that tough love to your staff sometime. You don't, you're not, you try not to be overbearing or whatever, but sometimes you have to have that tough talk with them. You have to have those, you always have high realistic expectations out of them. But it comes with the territory. And again, Dr. Revis, I've reflected back on their on the conversations that they had when they were talking about their work with the AAPSL. About every one of them, they realized themselves when they stopped, and when that very first night, when I literally told them to take off the teacher hat and put on the principal hat, and to look at something through a different lens or whatever, every one of you realized at some point where that has occurred in this process for you. And that's what we needed to have happen. So I will say, job well done. I'm very, very pleased. The one thing I do have to remind you of is when you become an administrator, and you should do this, practice it as a teacher or whatever your role is anyway. When you become an administrator, time management is so important. Due dates are vitally important in the school business, especially as an administrator. There's so many responsibilities that you will have as an administrator that are for you only. They don't belong to anybody else but you. The buck stops with you. And so I am pushing you now, even with the work you're doing for me. I'm treating you like an administrator. So I have those same expectations out of you. If I were your superintendent, I expect it when I ask for it, not 2 days later, or not an excuse or whatever. So That's not, I'm not going to let up on that. And I am going to, as we leave the AAPSL very soon and move into the APTIL, I am going to have higher expectations for you on some things with the APTIL, and I'm going to begin, and Dr. Revis is going to begin. We're going to start cutting the apron strings a little bit. I am going to expect you to be more independent thinkers, more independent doers, and it doesn't mean that I'm not going to respond to you. I may tell you, I'm not going to answer that. I want you to do this. I want you to give me, it's like with, I tell my staff all the time, it's okay for you to come to me with a problem, but I want you to also come to me with a solution to the problem and let's talk about it. Because I shouldn't be the one that's always solving problems. As an administrator, you've got to learn, or as a leader, you've got to learn how to manage problems. So sometimes I may just be blunt with you. I may say, Nicole, I'm not going to answer that. I want you to think about that some more, and then I want you to come back to me and we'll talk about it. Is that fair? Is that fair? I think that I have to get you there. Okay. Task 5. Dr. Revis, overall, I was highly, highly pleased with task 5. Remember, it's important when I ask you to do something, though, it's important to sometimes you may say, well, I want to do it my way, and sometimes that's okay. But having worked with the evaluators and seeing what they have missed sometime when it got to them, I could see it. Dr. Revis could see it, but somehow they couldn't see it. So I don't want your work submitted and you don't get a second chance to go back like you do with me. I don't want them to say, well, I don't see that. So we want to make it very, very clear. That's why I have stressed in task 5 to say, in my coursework, I know that sounds elementary, but that's okay. In my clinical experience, you can't miss that if you put it in a paragraph and you talk about it. And, now I can't control, once they get in there, I have had them sometime, and Dr. Revis has. I didn't agree with it, but I mean, I have no choice but to accept because, that's a state evaluator. Sometimes they'll say, there's not enough detail in there. You didn't talk about that enough. But I feel like all of you talked about it enough, or else I would have, I would have told you to put some more in there. So, job well done. I didn't mean to scare you to death when I put that information in there, that email, and told you that your hours were due to Dr. Revis on Sunday night too. That was, I guess my mind was tired, and I don't even know why I wrote it. I can't. If I had it, Terrence, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I have no idea why I wrote it, but I'm glad Terrence caught it in the nick of time, and I was able to get that information back out to you. That was my oversight on that. But what we want to do this evening is, and let me quickly share the screen. We find it here. Where are we? Here we are. Okay. And this is, you can find this in under week 7 in Blackboard. We want to look at, I'm going to review with you in just a moment now how to put it all together, what to do, for the Turnitin process and Taskstream. I do not want not one of you touching that computer and trying to do this while we're having class tonight. Understood? If you won't do it, some of you going to do it when we get through with class tonight, and that's okay. But it's important that you pay attention and even before you do it, go back and review the process, that we're going to put in place this evening. And then Dr. Revis is going to remind you of some of her requirements again that's due this week and next week. And then the last thing we're going to do, we're going to introduce to you case study 1 for the APSL, and then the class will be over then. So Again, you've got all this information, and if you scroll down on your agenda, you see that I've told you what week 7 looks like, and I've told you what week 8 looks like. So you've got that information on your agenda. I want to bring up I'm going to bring this document up first. Okay, and you can find this. I've put this under week 7, and you can find it also where I'm going to show you in a few minutes where Dr. Lamb has put some videos in there. You can find it there as well. But I did this morning, and there's a couple of grammar errors, and I didn't go back and change it, so that's no big deal. This is for you, a guide for you. Okay. You must have completely cleared Task 5 before you can do this. And so I think 99% of you are at that point, and the other I'll have that very shortly. So everybody will be at a place where you can do this and go ahead and get it over with. So this says once the AAPSL, and then I put the APTEL in there because you'll follow this same process when you get to the APTEL, has been cleared by your instructor and has been graded and submitted to the APSL assignment Dropbox and Blackboard, you will be instructed to submit to the Turnitin process. So what I'm going to do tonight, I am instructing you at this point that it's okay to move on to the Turnitin process, because what I chose to do this time is to tell you when you finish Task 5 to start to use your time wisely and work on Dr. Revis's work for Taskstream. Normally, I will tell you to move forward with the Turnitin process there. So I am verbally telling you that everybody can move forward with the Turnitin process if I have completely cleared you with Task 5. Now notice you have only one opportunity to submit to the Turnitin process, which is located in Blackboard, and I'll show you that in a minute. You click and follow the process to upload your completed evidence. Okay, most of you know this already or should know this. Turnitin is an originality checking and plagiarism prevention service that checks your writing for citation mistakes or inappropriate copying. When you submit your paper, Turnitin compares it to text in its massive database of student work, websites, books, articles, etc. Now, when it comes back to me and I see that it's a high number, you and I will have to have a one-on-one, and we're going to have to find out why. Now, I will tell you, we've had this to happen before, and I would not think that any of you would do it or are doing it, but I have to tell you, we've had students that have been from the same schools before, and work was copied, and it showed up. It actually told us who they copied it from. Am I right, Dr. Revis? So, please make sure that you're not found guilty of any of that. We've had to deal with a handful before, but this has not ever been a major, major problem. We've been able to work around it. So please make sure that it's your work. Some of the things are going to show up, just like the template. Everybody does the same template, so the template's going to show up. If I told you that it was okay to use, let's say, a defor, defor may show up on a lot of you because a lot of you use the same defor. That's okay. I understand that. Just make sure that it's not, and it will tell us if I didn't catch something or your peers didn't catch something, it'll tell us if something's not right. And if it's a major something, I'll have to tell you to go back and fix it. You will not get a report from Turnitin. So don't expect a report from Turnitin. I'm not going to go over a report from Turnitin with you unless there's an issue. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to be instructed to move on to Taskstream for evaluation after that. And that's where I will tell you, once you put it in Turnitin, I will give you a grade in there where it'll show a grade in Blackboard, and I will tell you, submit to Taskstream for evaluation at that point. And I'll show you that in just a second as well. And that's when it's going to go. It's out of my hands then, completely out of my hands. It's going to go to an assigned outside state evaluator. And they're going to look at the work that you've done. I'm going to show you in a minute. Dr. Lamb did this for me. I asked him to do it for us yesterday, and he has created 2 videos. One of them is going to be a video in Blackboard that provides you step-by-step process for submitting your final work into Taskstream. And Dr. Revis is going to show you as well the same thing for your competency folio and your internship logs. Once it goes to the state evaluator and it comes back, and you'll be able to go in there and check your grade in Taskstream. If you receive a 3, that's proficiency. You're okay. We don't want that. We want a 4. But if you get a 3, there's not a thing we can do about it, and we have to move on. Okay? We want a 4. That's accomplished work. Sometimes we'll get in between. Sometimes we'll get a 3.75. There may be one area that they feel is not strong enough. And remember, it's subjective to their evaluation. If it's this or anywhere in between, you will be directed to move forward. That means move forward to the AAPSL when we get there. Anything below a 3 will require revisions immediately before you're able to move on. And I'll have to put you working directly with Dr. Revis at that point, and myself, for us to be able to get you, to the next point. And I got real happy with my A's and my P's right there. So there's 1 P too many right there. So how to organize the AAPSL for final submission. Step by step. The header page that you created with task 1 with your name only, that's the first thing I should see. Then comes task 1 with all of the template work, everything in there, just like you submitted. It's a matter of taking that minus the references and the appendices. You're going to take them off. That's going to be the next, no, you've got to put I forgot to put it in there. You've got to put your school profile. That comes next. I'm sorry, I missed that. I'll go back and fix that in this document. Your school profile comes next. Then task 1, minus the references and appendices. Then task 2, minus the references and appendices. Now, you're not going to put that header sheet with all of these, only one header sheet, but the rest of it goes. Minus your references and appendices. Task 3, minus the references and appendices. Task 4 and task 5. After task 5, it will be your reference section, just like you put after task 1. It will be your references. But what you've done, you're going to go back to task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4, task 5. You're going to pull all of them together, compile them together, a comprehensive list, and you're going to put them in alphabetical order. That's what comes next. Then you're going to go back task 1 through task 5, and you're going to put the last section is appendices, and you're going to put your appendices in order from task 1 to task 5, whatever you've got as the last thing. And that is putting your entire document together. It's important that you remember, make sure that you space appropriately when putting your document together, and make sure that part of something is, in other words, don't let a heading be on one page and then the word that goes under it be on the next page. Make sure you go back and you aesthetically make sure your work looks professional. Make sure that you are spacing, and remember, throughout your document, except where the directions are, what's in black, everything should be what, Michelle? Everything should be what? The spacing.
It should be double space, sorry.
Double space consistently throughout your work. So make sure that the double spacing is there. You may want to go back and just give a quick glance before you submit it to make sure that you're satisfied with the APA and any grammar issues before a final submission. Okay, that if you feel good about it, this is just a reminder. And then you're going to follow this same process for the AAPSL. I'll go back and I will fix this as soon as class is over with. I'll go back and fix that and resubmit this in Blackboard. I'll take that one out and put this one in and make sure I put in there that where you have to put your school profile after the header page. Are there any questions about what you're supposed to do putting the document together? Any questions?
Are we supposed to keep the page numbers?
Yes. Yes. And again, some of you may have done this already. When you're doing the AAPSL, I would audit, you know what's expected now. I would go ahead and start saving it in a separate document so that when we get to this point with the AAPSL, you've already got it done. You understand what I'm saying? So just save it along the way and you won't have to do this at the end. It'll already be done. And all you got to do is just push the button and send it to me. Now, what I want to do now is show you, let's go to Blackboard. I want to show you some things and then I will turn it over to Dr. Revis. Dr. Lamb, let me see where did he put it? Come to, saw it. AAPSL. Help me find it, people. Videos, Dr. Revis, I know it's there because I just looked at them. Okay. Handbook, task stream videos. You see right there? Task stream videos. When you click on that, this is the one, how to upload a completed evidence for evaluation to Taskstream. It tells you step by step, and he shows you. This is that document I just went over, and I will replace it with that correction on it after class, so you can find it there as well. And then Dr. Revis is going to go over this when her time comes, but that is telling you how to upload your artifacts that she's going to talk about tonight, in addition to one that she's going to show you that is student-led from a student we had last semester. Okay, before I turn it over to Dr. Revis, are there any questions? Well, let me show you one more thing. This is, okay, when you put it together, where you've put tasks 1 to 5, when you click on the AAPSL assignment drop box, scroll down to the bottom. No, I told you wrong. I'm sorry. I told you wrong. AAPSL, not the drop box. It's the AAPSL task for review. Here it is. AAPSL task for review. You will scroll down to, like you've done when you wanted instructor review for task 5. This is task 1 through 5 when you combine it. That's where you will send it to me to make sure that it's ready for the Turnitin process. So you will submit it there, and that's where I will give you the go right there. Okay, you've got to submit that first to me.
And Dr. Stedman, I think you want this by Thursday. Am I correct?
I am correct. That is correct. And sooner if you can get it to me. I mean, that gets it off your plate. But don't rush. It's not a race. Make sure that it's right, okay? But try to, you know, if you can, if some of you, I'll get it tonight from some people, Dr. Revis. I know I will. They're ready for it as well. But just make sure that it is ready when you put it in there. And this is where I will tell you, I told you wrong a while ago. I forgot that I had this in here. I will tell you here, submit to Turnitin. This is where I will tell you, or I will send it back and say, you need to fix so and so. But until I tell you here, submit to the Turnitin process, do not. Now, when I tell you to go to Turnitin, this is where you go. The AAPSL Turnitin check. That's when and only then do you click on that. And you follow the process. You click there and it tells you what to do. Okay? Everybody good with that process? Okay, good to go. Okay, so Dr. Revis, I'm going to start sharing. And again, any questions before Dr. Revis moves forward? Okay, Dr. Revis?
So by Sunday evening, if I'm correct, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yep.
Dr. Stedman, they need to have uploaded by Sunday evening their 100 hours of clinical work, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now,
And you can send that to Dr. Revis before then if you've got it. Dr. Revis, you usually like for them to send you an email and just say, Dr. Revis, I've submitted my 100 hours.
now I want you to listen very, very carefully. You only submit your clinical log in your competency folio. Okay? Don't put it in your DRF folio. If you do, then you have to email Dr. Lamb and ask him to physically take it out. He gets upset with that. At the bottom of your folio, there's your internship log. Okay? That's where you submit it for my review. You will not put anything into your DRF folio until your third semester, as far as your clinical log. All right. So we've talked about this at length. Before we go on, any questions about your clinical logs?
Okay, somebody tell Dr. Revis and me how many competencies go into your. Okay, I'm sorry. You're talking about the logs right now. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
100 hours. 100 hours. And that is due by this coming Sunday at 6 p.m. Earlier the better. Now, I should get an automatically generated email when you request comments.
Okay.
But just in case, send me an email when you have uploaded your clinical log. And I'll go ahead and go in and look at it. So the first thing I want to do is show you the video. Michelle, where did you find this video?
It was under the clinical stuff, I believe, either
Okay.
that or the one Dr. Stedman was just in.
It's very difficult for us to walk you through this because we cannot see the student view. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead. This student last semester worked with us and designed a video to show you how to upload and request comments. So if you will, let's look at this.
And if Michelle found it, it's in there. We'll go back and look, but if not, it's going to be in there tonight for you. I can't hear it, Dr. Revis.
Hear it, okay. All right. For some reason, you cannot hear it. I'm going to zip on through it and show you one thing.
If you unshare your screen and then share again, and then there's a little message at the bottom that'll pop up that says to share your sound, that should help you.
Okay. Stop share.
Thanks, Melissa. I
All
forget
right.
about that.
Share
share
screen
again.
and then do what?
Share again.
Sound.
Sound.
Thank
It'll
you.
say share sound under options.
Yes, right
Click
there.
that.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
I have learned something tonight. I learn something all the time.
Is actually sharing her screen at this time.
Can
And
you
she's
hear it
going
now?
into her personal DRF folio and the folio and web pages, and we're going to just take it from here. So, Dr. Revis, anything before Julie gets started?
Well, first of all, remember with your competency folio, you do have to create it. And Julie has already created her folio. There is a short, probably 2-minute video that Dr. Lamb has done. If you have forgotten or if you have not already created your competency folio. So notice that to get to this, you have to click at the top of the screen, folio and web pages. And then her competency folio will show up. Okay, Julie, so take us from this particular point.
Dr. Revis, before she goes for also remember that you can also refer back to, and I think this was coaching session 3. Look in coaching sessions 3 and 4 videos. And Dr. Lamb spent a lot of time camping out with how to do this as well. Go ahead, Julie. Or Dr. Revis.
Okay, so communication. Everybody's got communication. So you click on that, and this is what you should see. Of course, again, don't do anything to this description in here. That stays in here. And she has already come down here, fall 2023, and she's labeled it the AAPSL. And she's provided a brief description. That's it, a couple sentences. And then scroll, what did you do next, Julie? Scroll on down, and then you added your attachments.
Haven't added my attachments yet.
Okay.
I just briefly started and I haven't finished.
Okay. So then you would add attachments. Now remember, the attachments that she's going to upload are going to have the same naming convention of what she's uploaded. 2023. I would even say fall 2023 AAPSL. And I don't know if you've got your artifact label like that, Julie, or not, but we can move on. She would upload her artifact as an attachment. And then
Dr. Revis, before you go, Julie, go back down to the bottom where you said save and return. That's important that they see that component down in the lower right-hand corner. Okay, when you went back to communication, you were, Dr. Revis asked you to come down. Okay, there. Okay, what did you do for them to get to save and return? Because this is going to be important, Dr. Revis, that they see this component, this button, because this allows them to save and return until they get all 12 done.
Right. If you're typing into, you have to hit edit to type into anything. Again, do not take out the pre-populated descriptor of the competency. Leave that in. All you're doing is you are hitting edit, and then you can fall 2023 AAPSL and your brief description. Then once she does that, she has to scroll to the bottom of that little screen. I think you're out of edit mode, maybe. And save and return. Okay.
Okay, and you're going to do that for all 12 competencies until you get to the end. Right? Is that right, Dr. Revis?
Yes, that is
Okay,
correct.
good.
And once you get to the end, now you're ready to request comments. All right. Now she's only got one check because that's the only one she started on. But you will only check the 12 for which you are submitting right now. If you check all of them, we've got to open every one of those up. So only, don't do that. Go down through there and individually check. Why don't you go ahead and check communication? And then what do we do, Julie? Because we can't see this screen. Continue.
We continue. And that's where it gives the names.
Okay.
And so if you're in Dr. Stedman's class, which Julie is, she clicks on my name. If you're in my class, of course, you click on Dr. Stedman's name. Continue. And it tells you, comments are requested successfully.
And let me remind you, that's important that again, if you're in Dr. Revis's class, you click only on my name. Don't click on Dr. Revis's name too, because guess what? She has to go in and open them up as well as I do. And all she's going to do is just have to open them up, take her time to open them up. Do not submit, if you're in Dr. Revis's class, only submit my name. If you're in my class, only submit Dr. Revis's name. Okay?
And you don't need to tell us or email us to tell us that you've submitted it. If you heard that ding a second ago, that is my notification. Okay, so you've got the gist of it, I think. There is another video that Dr. Lamb created that it's in your internship and competency tab, and it's about uploading documents. It doesn't show you how to request comments, and of course, you're only going to request comments for me, but I would like for you to send me an email. Now, do not request comments one at a time. Then I get 12 emails from you. Go ahead and get several done before you request comments. You know, really and truly, you need to wait to get all 12 of them done. And your clinical log will be the first thing because it's due this Sunday evening.
Dr. Revis, let's make a decision. Let's submit all 12 at one time to Dr.
Yes,
Revis.
that would be
Because
awesome.
that's very respectful of her time, because that means that she won't have to keep going back in there. Anyway, just submit all 12 at one time for Dr. Revis's review.
And if I do not give you feedback, you'll have to go into Taskstream and look for feedback. Okay? I'm not going to email you outside of Taskstream. Go back into Taskstream into your competency folio, and you will find comments about your clinical log. I'm going to be tough on you this first time. I'll just tell you that. Got to get you started off on the right foot. And I will give you, if everything looks good on your clinical log, I'll say you've met the mid-semester clinical log requirements, or met on your competency folio. What I usually do is I will say completed 1 of 3 spring 2024. That means you've completed 1 artifact for that competency this semester. Now, if it's not completed, I'll tell you why. You need to go back in and adjust something.
And Dr. Revis, it should be those same 12 competencies that you did for me for task 5.
Yes, you should be selecting from those. Excuse me. Be sure that if you're putting in an open-ended artifact in your competency folio, that you truly choose something from your clinical work, not your AAPSL work that we are allowing you to count for your clinical work. Okay. I want a true clinical artifact if you do open-ended. Any questions on your clinical log or your competency folio?
Yes. So if we have more than 100 hours, do we add those 100 hours or you want us to stop at 100 hours?
I would not revise anything. Whatever you're at right now, but I'm only going to say you've met your midterm clinical requirements. It's going to be one continuous log. Now be sure that at the bottom, you total the hours. I will send it back if it's not totaled.
And send it
You
back
can
if
add
it's not typed, right?
Yes, sir. It needs to be typed, and you need to total your hours and make sure you fill out that column that's got L for leadership, T for technical, or S for supervision. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions on those two things?
I must have a different log because the logs that are in the thing don't have that section for the T, L, and S.
We uploaded a new log last semester.
Dr. Revis, you told them just to add that is what you had told them.
Yeah, I think
That's the one, that's the standard log that is in there from Gardner Webb. You and I, we suggested that, and we just told them to make their own column in there, is what we told them.
there's one.
Is there?
Let's see if it's in here. Now that one doesn't have that column in. You can just go and add a column in there. But I thought there was one in there that had it.
I don't remember it. But I mean, I'm not saying it's not, but I just don't remember it.
I do know that this example has it.
It does.
And putting this in here serves as a good guide and reminder for you and for us, because we should see far more L's than we do T's and few S's. Okay.
Dr. Revis, would you be able to go in and just do that and just send it to me, and I'll put it in the shell.
Okay, sure.
That, and I'll just put one in the shell for you. Okay.
I was thinking maybe that it was right up here. Let me just look at this one right quick.
Or has someone already done that, gone in and done it, put that column in theirs and started working on it?
I have one that I did it's in Google, but it actually calculates for you too. But then you can download it into Word if you would like me to share that.
Send it to me, Melissa, and let me look at it, okay?
Yes, sir.
I
I'll
did
put
mine in
yep.
Word as well.
Thank you. And if anybody else has got one, just send them to me and I'll look at them, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We got all these smart people, Dr. Revis.
I look forward to reading some of these artifacts and seeing some of
Okay.
them.
Melissa,
When are
if
there
you would-
artifacts due?
wait a minute, Melissa, just send that to my Gardner Webb email. Okay. Send it to my Gardner Webb email so I can open up in that and save it as a Word document.
So the clinical log is due this Sunday at 6. When is their competency folio 12 artifacts? When is that due, Dr. Stedman?
No later than the end of week 8, not this week, but next week. And again, Dr. Revis would like that. And honestly, if you get it done, that means that we will begin next week introducing you to the AAPSL, but you will have everything for the AAPSL behind you. and not having to focus on anything with the AAPSL while we're starting on the APTEL. So, I mean, if you can get it done, get it done. Sooner than later.
And it does take some time, guys. So
It does.
don't wait to the last minute.
It's,
Thank you.
it's not hard stuff. It's just timely, you know, like you said, takes your time. And one last thing for tonight. In Blackboard, you will find a section, and I don't know why it's always so hard for me to find this stuff. Case study materials. Okay, you will click on that. You will do 2 case studies semester. One will reflect the work you've done with the APSL. The second one will reflect the work you will have done with the APTEL at the end of the APTEL. These are your case study directions. You click on that and it tells you what to do. Okay. That should be MSA. MSA 601 case study directions. And I'll show you the case study in just a second. You're going to read the case study individually. Each of you are going to read it individually. And for the first one, there's 4 questions. You're going to write out your responses to those 4 questions based on how you feel, what you think, based on the research that you've interpreted. What are your 4 answers, responses to those 4 questions for this case study after you've read it? Now, those questions are for you and for you only. You're going to use them, but I don't need to see them. I'll know what you've done when you work with your Zoom team. After you've done that, your team needs to pick whoever the Zoom master is going to be. Your Zoom master will schedule and send out the link for a time that you will sit down as a group and you're going to talk about this case study based on the 4 questions. Now, the Zoom master, you need to look at that because there's no reason for, if there's 5 people in your group, 5 people cannot respond probably to every one of the questions. There won't be enough time to do that. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't have some input in it, but you need to make sure that you're assigning everybody some time with a question that they will be predominantly the one that's talking about that, and others can respond to that so that there's equal participation, throughout. But all of your conversation needs to be on the case study. Now, what will I be looking for in that? I'm going to see that lessons learned with the APSL, the process. You're thinking as an administrator. You're not thinking as a teacher. You're thinking as an administrator when you respond to this. Your scholarly dialogue. I'm going to listen for some of your research. When you're talking about things, according to DeFore, blah 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 blah, or if it's dealing with, Bandura said, when it comes to efficacy, if it's something to deal with that, we're looking for that, and we're looking for the readings that you're doing. If there's an opportunity to reflect on something from one of the textbook readings or the articles, then you need to reflect on that. Well, you need to say it. So those are the kinds of things that when I am listening to the video, I'm looking individually to see, what has Michelle got to say? What has Melissa got to say? Um, you know, what does Anna have to say? Any of you, I'm going to see what you have to say individually, and I'm going to glean from that how I feel you are interpreting the research. Now, some of this you can't help but to, I don't want a lot of opinions. If it's an opinion, base it on research. But some of it you will have to reflect, because you never forget that you're a teacher. You never forget that. So some of this will, you'll pull from your experiences as well. But the predominant conversation needs to be as an administrator. Dr. Revis, did I miss anything with that part of it?
I don't think so. Just be sure that you can back up what your suggestions are in the case study based on either your clinical work or your coursework.
Okay. Now, once it's all done, the Zoom Master, they will upload the video, turn it into a YouTube, and they will send everybody that same link. Okay, so remember that. Everybody will have the same link. And even though I'm looking at 5 people in that group, I'm looking at each person differently. Okay? So you've got to do, there's 3 things you've got to do. You've got to, or 4 things. You've got to read your case study first, then you've got to answer your questions. That's independently. Then you're going to have the Zoom session. The Zoom session is where I will listen to you in a scholarly conversation. Then after that, the final thing that you do independently is each of you are to write a 1-page, 2-part reflective summary. There's going to be two paragraphs, 2 parts. The first one is going to be a reflective summary of both, where it's going to be a reflective summary of both the case study and the case study Zoom session. The case study part of the reflective summary will include an overview of the relevant points of the case. I don't want you to regurgitate the case. I don't want you to tell me the story over again. I know the story of 3 bears or Little Red Riding Hood. I know that. I want you to do an overview of the relevant points from that case. Then I want you to talk about the actual case study Zoom experience, your takeaways from that discussion. Because, and I'm looking at what I'm looking at again. I see Melissa and Michelle. So what Michelle has to say may be totally different from what Melissa has to say, but Michelle would not have thought about it. Wow, Melissa, I hadn't thought about it that way. Or Melissa would say, Michelle, I hadn't thought about it that. Those are takeaways. Things that you gleaned from it, from each other, from that experience. And that can be, make sure that it's professionally written. Does it have to be APA? No, just make sure that it's good grammar and, that you do what you're, now, if it requires APA, because if you're citing a reference in there, then yes. But I'm just looking for good summaries, reflective summaries for both of them. Okay, now let's go back to, I knew I'd do that. Now let's go back to the case study again. Okay, this is where you will find case study 1. You click on this, that's your case study. And again, everything in here reflects on your work with the apps. Now, when you get ready to submit your work, you click here, case study, scenario 1, written reflection, and Zoom link. And you just follow directions. You put your Zoom link in there, and it will be the same for everybody in your group. You upload your files, based on your one-page summary or your document that you submit to me, and then you submit it for to Blackboard for my evaluation. Is everybody clear on what you're supposed to do with the case study? Now, I would highly recommend, again, think about Thursday and getting it over with, so that you don't have this over your head on the weekend. I would think about that, and as soon as this class is over with, y'all might want to say, okay, Zoom teams, can we get together for 5 minutes and make decisions on this? Go ahead and get it over with tonight while you've got everybody's attention. Okay, that's just a suggestion. Dr. Revis, did I miss anything on that?
No, I think you did a really good job and was very thorough, but I want to emphasize one more time. When you're thinking about the case study, think about the work that you did with the AAPSL and that process that you went through, and apply it to your case study.
Okay, Shaquita, that is due Sunday night by 6 o'clock. So you will have, for me, no later than Thursday, you will have, for me, all of your work submitted into one document for me to give it. And if you can get it to me before, we can get you cleared with the AAPSL. That is, we can clear you out. But by Thursday, no later than Thursday, I should have the AAPSL completed and combined for me to give you the the opportunity to move forward. And once it moves forward, it's a fast process. And the case study is due this Sunday. The case study is due this Sunday. So you've got to get together as a team this Sunday. And then the 100 hours for Dr. Revis. And then your competency folio is not due until the next Sunday. You won't have anything due for me the next Sunday, just for Dr. Revis, week 8. Okay, that's good. You might get a half a breath.
Just a half.
A half a breath. Is everybody good? Everybody good? Does everybody understand what we've got to do?
Terrence is shaking his head no. What's going on, Terrence?
Can't hear you, Terrence. Terrence, we can't hear you. Okay. Somebody let Terrence know that we can't hear him. Terrence, call me when class is over. Just call me, Terrence. Somebody tell Terrence to call me when class is over. Just send him a message, Dr. Revis. Tell him to call me when class is over. He's got my number.
I think he's got it.
Give you a
Okay.
thumbs up.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Everybody good?
Question.
Okay, Mandy.
So the video that you guys were showing earlier with the previous student was walking us through. When I'm looking on mine looks a little bit different. So will you guys put that video in the shell so that I can go back and
We will. Dr. Revis found it, and for some reason I must have deleted it when I was transferring information from last semester to this semester that I was going to keep, and so we will put it in there, Mandy. I'll get that in there tonight for you.
And Mandy, I started at about a little over a minute in to the video.
Okay.
At
Okay,
some
yeah,
point, I may want to just show somebody what my screen looks like because I don't feel like that my screen looks like what it's supposed to. I want to make sure I'm good because you
Go-
guys said
go-
don't go into the DRF, but when
Go-
you go into the folio and you click to start adding things on there, it looks like the DRF.
okay, there would only be
Have
one.
you
Go ahead. If it's,
have you
if
created your competency folio?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Um, go ahead and share. Is it okay if she goes and
Sure,
shares her screen right there?
absolutely, yes. Mandy, go ahead and share your screen.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to. I'm not good
Okay.
with Zoom, so
Okay.
okay.
I'm not either.
Let's see. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I go, okay, hold on. When I go up to folios and web pages, here's my folio. So I go into this. But see on the side, I feel like it looks like the DRF. Isn't here where I'm supposed to add things? I go to communication, add it here. I click communication and then edit here.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I'm doing it correctly.
Yes, you are.
I don't. Yes. What is the little thing right under communication?
So I wasn't sure. I thought each one was a separate section. And I actually reached out to Dr. Lamb because when he was showing us this video, he said, if you want an image, it needs to go under text and image. Well, when I uploaded the image for my email, it just splattered it across the entire screen. And I asked him if I was doing something wrong, and he said no, that Taskstream is working as intended. If I wanted it in an attachment, I needed to paste the picture and then add it as a Word doc in attachments. So is that how you want it to look?
Well, typically your links or attachments or videos or excuse me, photos don't show up over on the left-hand side. Typically you have to open it up. I don't get wigged out over it, but if you wanted to go back and redo that one, that would be good. And
Okay.
just do it as an attachment so that when you're looking at it, just scroll all the way down. Mandy, it's the format that you chose was a little bit different than the example. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You can choose your own layout, but you've got what you need.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Now I
Uh-huh.
have to stop sharing. Okay. There it is.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions? Everybody good? Everybody good?
I have one specifically for Dr. Revis, but I can wait till everybody's gone.
Okay. And again, I will get that document corrected for the process for submitting. I'll add the school profile in that, and we'll find the video and get it uploaded for you as well. Okay. Okay, guys.
Bye, guys.
Dr. Revis, I sent you an email earlier with a question. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it yet.
I'm going to go back to this example. Okay. You said technology.
Yeah, that's just an example.
Okay. When I open it up, one of your three artifacts must come from OMA, PSYOP, and open-ended. Well, you've
Right.
not done those two yet. So
Right.
yes, it's very appropriate for that to come from your open-ended, from a clinical.
Okay.
Okay.
If it lists APSL,
If it lists APSL,
and it's
you
not
got
something,
you
I'm
got to
sorry.
pull it from your APSL. If it lists APSL, you got to pull it from your APSL.
So it's got to be from part of the PLCs and everything that we did.
The work that you've done in the coursework, yes.
Okay, so Dr. Stedman, does that mean I need to go back and change those things in the task 5?
No, task five can be differently than what you do for Dr. Revis.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for asking that clarifying question, Michelle.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions of those that are with us?
I just have a quick question.
Okay.
It needs to be someone different from the Zoom master, right?
Do what?
Because my group, I'm like trying to tell them, like, you can do it again, but I want to make sure. It
No,
needs to be something different.
somebody else needs to do it.
Okay, that's
Somebody
all.
else
Thank you.
takes the lead on it. Thank you, Sparkle.
You're welcome. Y'all have a great night.
Okay, thank
too.
you.
Hey, you can understand. I think it
Becca?
developed. Can you
Yeah.
understand me?
I can't. Becca has been very, very sick.
Oh
I think it's
man.
bronchitis now. And my child also, I'm pretty sure she tested negative for the flu, but maybe it was just out of the window. But my question is for next week with the I know at 6:30 is the town hall, right? That got moved from Monday to Tuesday and then Tuesday. Just with like putting her to bed and stuff, like I can't put her to sleep at starting at 6 o'clock. So should I pay attention like more or like will the 6:30 class kind of go into the 7? Does that make sense?
You'll be fine, Becca. Just it'll be recorded and sent to you. You will be fine.
So should I just plan to come on at 7 like normal
Yeah,
then?
come on normal at 7 and you will be fine. Just
Okay.
join when you can and then go back and look at those first 30 minutes. Dr. Lamb will probably you'll be fine. You just go back and look at the video and catch up when you can and join when you can. But I don't worry about you, Becca. You're going to do it no matter what. So
Well,
Well, I worry about how she's feeling, and you look like you feel horrible. Bless your heart.
she's
I
had the
know.
flu. She's
Oh
had the
man.
flu. Becca
Yeah.
is usually my number one student to have stuff submitted and perfect the first time. And I know she beat herself up because she couldn't do it. But even with the flu, she got 8 of them done out of the 12. And just she dropped after the 8.
It was a very big, it was also my child's second birthday.
Um,
It was, I mean, also I teach fourth grade now. Our
Right.
teacher quit. So now I will teach all the math blocks and my other coach will teach reading. So we're just a lot of this I'm sure I haven't recovered yet is because of how much, school stuff has been put on because the 1 through 5, I already have that done. I've been putting it in order as
Right.
I've done. I just gotta
Right.
make sure it's all pretty now. So I'm not worried about that. And I already paced out all my competencies. So I just have to put it in. Well, that's why I told the other girls that if you put the competencies first and know what you want to do, then you go back and write task 5 because then you would have already have known what goes. Then you have your main one, and then in task 5 you would add others that blend with your main one. So then you can take language from your task 5 into your competency folder, so you're not doing double work.
And that's working smart, Becca. I told Dr. Revis, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I see a star student in you. I see a bright future, a bright career for you.
Yeah.
I would be willing to speak up for you in Cumberland County.
Well,
I-
thank you.
I
You
live.
want to get someone else to teach fourth grade for me, Dr. Stedman?
I wish I could. I wish I could. But I'm just saying that you're going to move up quickly in Cumberland County. You get this done, you're going to move up quickly. I can see that already. And
Becca, have you thought about the doctoral program at Gardner Webb?
A long time ago, that's what I originally was going to do. And then right now, a lot of it's just been like, this has been good timing, to do this. So, I mean, it's always been something that I've thought about. But then again, that would also be the time, because that would be 2 years, right?
a minimum of 2 years, 3 years, 3 years maybe. But we'll get through this. But we'll talk. But you would make a wonderful doctoral student. You're very disciplined. I've bragged on her a lot, haven't I, Dr. Revis?
You sure have. You sure have. I can't wait to see your folio work.
Well, I will have it all in on Sunday.
Okay.
So,
All right. You take
Check
care
it.
of yourself. Get some
Yes,
rest.
you better take care of yourself, okay? And call me if
thank
you
you.
need me, okay?
What's that?
Call me if you need me.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you,
Bye.
Edmund.
Okay, that was a
I'm
good
gonna
group,
go
though.
load up with some stuff.
Yeah, so you've sent that to me already, so I can look at that,
I
right?
did. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll look at that and everything, but I think
I don't
they've
know
got it.
why that didn't copy over in our course shells, but
Don't
it
either.
didn't.
I don't either. But I think they've got it, don't you? They seem to.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. Let me see the chats before we finish. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Okay. We've answered them all.
Okay. Okay, well,
All right.
I'll get this done and we move on. We're not too late tonight.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Okay. You have a
Okay.
good rest of your evening.
Okay, bye. Take care of yourself.